Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we will have an honest and eye-opening conversation that many men need far too late. Cheating doesn't usually begin with a sudden decision or a reckless moment. It often starts with emotional distance, subtle behavior changes, and quiet priority shifts. Long before anything physical happens, a disconnection begins to grow. And if you're not paying close attention, you might miss the signs until it's too late. This video is here to help you recognize those early cues, not through suspicion or paranoia, but through awareness and emotional clarity. Because when a woman starts pulling away emotionally, her words and actions begin to tell a very different story than the one she may try to present. We'll explore 4 key phrases that often signal something deeper is going on, words that can reveal emotional infidelity, manipulation, or a quiet exit strategy already in motion. This isn't about placing blame. It's about learning to protect your peace, your energy, and your emotional well-being. So if you ever felt like something was off in your relationship, but couldn't quite name it, this video is for you. Stick with us until the end, cause the signs we're about to cover could be the insight you need to walk away with clarity and not confusion. Let's get started. Asterisk 1. He's just a friend. Asterisk. A classic red flag. It often begins with something small and easy to overlook, a name that comes up a little too usually, a laugh that sounds slightly too familiar, or a story where the same man appears repeatedly. She smiles and says, "He's just a friend." Maybe you want to believe it. Perhaps you tell yourself you're overthinking because you trust her. But underneath those 5 words, there's often a much deeper story unfolding, one that has less to do with friendship and more to do with emotional positioning. It's rarely a casual statement when a woman insists on explaining why another man in her life is nothing to worry about. It's rehearsed, strategic. She might make him sound harmless, maybe as gay or already taken. Perhaps they've known each other forever, or she'll say things like, "He's like a brother to me." These details are chosen not to make you feel secure, but to keep him close without confrontation. The more effort she puts into defending the relationship, the more you must ask why she needs to explain it. She wouldn't need to justify his presence if this man were irrelevant. But instead, you'll notice patterns. She brings him up when she doesn't need to. She laughs a little louder when she reads his texts. She may even encourage you to meet him, hoping your discomfort will disappear if you like him. But it doesn't. Your instincts start to pick up on how she protects that connection, sometimes more fiercely than yours. The real test is in how she responds when you express concern. If she's dismissive, defensive, or even angry, it's not because you're wrong. You're close to something she hasn't admitted to herself. A woman in love with you, truly and deeply, will take your emotional safety seriously. She won't demand that you tolerate something that makes you feel insecure. She won't insist on keeping someone around if she knows it's damaging the foundation between you. But when she does the opposite, when she refuses to create distance, invalidates your concerns, or gaslights you into believing you're being insecure, it's time to step back and see what's happening. Emotional boundaries are often more complicated to draw than physical ones because there's nothing obvious to point to, but that doesn't make them any less real. Emotional infidelity begins not with betrayal, but with loyalty being quietly shifted elsewhere. You'll notice the signs. Frequent texting, laughter at a phone with no context, messages she deletes or hides before you can ask. Sometimes, it's a sharing private details about your relationship with him, confiding in him about things she no longer brings to you. This is not harmless. This is not friendship. This is emotional intimacy being transferred, one message at a time. And the worst part? She may not even realize she's doing it. Or maybe she does and doesn't want to stop. It's not uncommon for these friendships to evolve into something more once the current relationship ends. It happens so often that it's no longer surprising. There are stories like this everywhere. For years, one man watched his girlfriend fiercely defend her closeness with a male friend. Every concern was met with laughter or irritation. But only months after they broke up, she was in a relationship with that same man. Eventually, they got married. The man who was supposedly just a friend had been quietly waiting in the wings, and she had kept the door open for him the entire time. This is the uncomfortable truth many men don't want to face. The words "is just a friend" are not always a lie, but they are often incomplete. If she's willing to risk your trust to keep another man in her orbit, she's not choosing you fully. If she gets defensive instead of empathetic and dismisses your concerns instead of addressing them, it's not about love. It's about divided emotional loyalty. And love divided is love weakened. A saying fits here perfectly. Asterisk, you don't compete with friend. You compete with someone she hasn't been honest about. Asterisk, when a woman's emotional energy is given to another man consistently and covertly, you're not imagining the shift. You're living in it. A partner who truly values you will make you feel you're enough. She won't make you feel like there's someone quietly waiting in the background while she expects you to act like everything's normal. Trust isn't built on how often someone tells you not to worry. It's built on their willingness to protect what matters to you, especially when no one's watching. And if she won't protect your heart from the presence of someone who threatens it, then just a friend might be just the beginning of a much bigger truth. Asterisk 2. Gaslighting and deflecting accountability. Asterisk. There are moments in a relationship when something just doesn't feel right. You sense a shift, a tone in her voice, a hesitation in her answers, a story that doesn't quite add up. You bring it up gently, unsure if you're overthinking it. But instead of clarity, you're met with deflection. Suddenly, you're the problem. You're being insecure. You're overreacting. What you thought was a conversation becomes a courtroom, and somehow you're on trial for the very thing you were questioning. This isn't just miscommunication. It's a psychological maneuver. When she makes you doubt your instinct or feel guilty for noticing red flags, she's not addressing the issue. She's dodging it. That moment you caught her sitting too close to another man or saw a text that felt off, what you felt was valid. But her response turns a spotlight on your reaction, not her behavior. It's a subtle rewriting of the truth, meant to make you shrink. That's gaslighting, not always loud or cruel, but always confusing. Sometimes it goes further. You voice concern, and she flips it on you. Asterisk, maybe you're the one cheating. Asterisk, she says. Asterisk, why else would you think that about me? Asterisk, it's not just offense, it's projection. Instead of answering your question, she plants suspicion in your direction. It's a way of pushing you off balance while avoiding accountability. You end up second-guessing yourself, not because you're wrong, but because she's skilled at making you feel like you are. And then come the stories that shift. One day, it was a girls-only night. The next, someone casually mentions a guy being there. She brushes it off when you ask. Asterisk, you're reading too much into it. Asterisk, but your gut knows better. It's in these minor contradictions where the truth leaks out. The inconsistencies aren't always dramatic, but they matter, because over time, they wear down your confidence in your perception. You start ignoring the whispers inside you in favor of the explanation she hands you. But you need to remember, your intuition doesn't lie. When something feels off, it usually is. You don't need every detail to align perfectly to trust your instincts. There's a reason you felt the need to ask. There's a reason the answers didn't sit right. Your piece is too valuable to be chipped away by half-truths and blame games. There's a quiet power in standing by what you know, even when someone tries to rewrite the story. As the saying goes, asterisk if your spirit is unsettled. There's a reason to asterisk, and no matter how much he tries to twist the truth, your clarity begins when you stop doubting yourself. Asterisk 3. I need space. A soft exit strategy. Asterisk. When a woman says she needs space, it rarely arrives without warning signs. The words might sound gentle, even thoughtful, as if she's stepping back to work on herself or find clarity. But more often than not, the space she's asking for isn't empty. It's already being filled by someone else. This phrase is one of the most misunderstood exit strategies in modern relationships. It feels like a pause, a moment to breathe, a chance to reset. But in truth, it's often a carefully phrased way to soften the reality that she's emotionally detaching. What she frames as growth or reflection is usually a doorway she's opening, not to find herself, but to welcome someone new into her life without fully letting go of you. Watch her behavior closely. The texts come less frequently now, and the tone is cooler. Phone calls that used to stretch into the night become short and practical. She avoids physical closeness, not out of stress, but out of disinterest. She spends more time with new friends, and her energy seems to shift toward people and places that don't include you. One name might appear more often than before, followed by asterisk is just a friend asterisk, but you can feel the shift in her words and the absence of emotional intimacy. This is where many men falter. They chase, they beg, they try to prove they're worth staying for. But chasing someone who's already walking away only makes the distance grow. She isn't asking for space to heal the relationship. She's asking for it to test life without you, while keeping the door slightly open, just in case. In her silence and absence, she watches how you respond. The more you reach out, the less she respects your center. The strongest response isn't to argue or explain. It's to honor the space completely. Step back, not out of anger, but out of self-respect. Let her actions reveal her intent. If she uses that space to build a life without you and grow closer to someone else, then the truth was never in her words. It was in the distance she created. There's wisdom in restraint. A man who can remain grounded while someone drifts away isn't passive. He's powerful. Eventually, she'll realize that the space she asked for became the silence where your presence disappeared. And in that silence, she'll see what she walked away from. Not just a man who loved her, but a man who knew when to stop giving himself to someone who had already let go. Asterisk, asterisk 4. You deserve someone better. The final signal, asterisk, asterisk. There's a moment in some breakups that feels more confusing than heartbreaking. She sits quietly, maybe with a look of regret or practice calm, and says what sounds like a compliment but lands like a verdict. Asterisk, you deserve someone better, asterisk. The words are delivered softly, as if she's doing you a kindness and handing you a truth that should make you feel grateful. But underneath that polished sentence is a quiet unraveling of something already broken. And the real message, the one she's not saying aloud, is far less noble. Asterisk, I've already left. Please don't make this harder than it needs to be, asterisk. When a woman says those words, she's almost always gone. Maybe not physically, not officially, but emotionally, she's no longer in the room with you. The warmth has faded. Her presence has shifted, and something in her tone now carries distance instead of care. You'll start to notice how the conversations grow shorter, how the eye contact disappears, and how her touch feels more like a habit than a connection. She's already withdrawn from a relationship, and what you hear now isn't a conversation. It's the closing line. This phrase is one of the cleanest emotional exit strategies she can use. It gives her the moral high ground while protecting her from guilt. Instead of saying, asterisk, I've lost interest, asterisk, or asterisk, I met someone else, asterisk, she says, asterisk, you deserve more, to asterisk, a statement that frames you as a victim of a decision made with compassion. But in truth, she's asking for smooth exit, one without confrontation, without difficult questions, and without having to explain choices you may not want to admit, especially if she's already emotionally or physically involved with someone else. This phrase allows her to move forward without carrying the weight of betrayal. She gives you the appearance of agency while controlling the direction of the outcome. The tactic works because it flips the emotional script. Suddenly, you're not the one being left. You're being offered freedom. She frames a breakup as a gift to you rather than an escape for her. And it works exceptionally well if you're still trying to make things work, hopeful and unaware of how far gone she is. You may find yourself responding with confusion or even gratitude, not realizing that what's happening is a carefully worded way to shift the emotional labor of the breakup onto your shoulders. Many men make the mistake of trying to fix things at this point. They think maybe she's just tired or confused or needs reassurance. They offer to do better, to communicate more, to change whatever they believe pushed her away. But when a woman says asterisk, you deserve better, asterisk, she has already rehearsed her exit internally. She is not asking for solutions. She's asking for closure without the mess.